This judgment in heaven, with 100 million angels watching, is happening right now. And it is not over yet. This is judgment time for all people on the earth. Those who, like the Roman Catholic Church, have dared to oppose God's law and his people will be condemned in this judgment. And God's faithful people will be declared righteous in the same judgment. Then, when the judgment finishes, two things will happen on earth. Video number 5. The fourth power's breakup followed by the judgment. When the papacy took over Europe, it used those powers to take over the world. Catholic missionaries traveled with Catholic explorers. And the Catholic Church declared that when European persons discovered so-called heathen lands and nations, they could claim those areas as their very own. In this way, the papacy became a mighty empire, though it controlled the world using other powers, and not by using its own little army. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy fearfully, and shall prosper and thrive. He shall destroy the mighty, and also the holy people. Daniel 8:24. In this way, Europe took over North Africa, East Africa, West Africa, and South Africa. It took over India and Pakistan and Bangladesh and Myanmar. It took over the lands of Malaysia and Indonesia and the Philippines, as well as the continent of Australia. The European tribes took over almost all of North America, Central America, and South America. When men are widely victorious, they can easily become drunk with thoughts about their own wisdom and power. That happened to the papacy. As we saw in the last video, she persecuted God's faithful people and all others that disagreed with her views, or who would not bow to her authority. God allowed this to go on for more than 1,000 years, but after his wise purposes were fulfilled in allowing this power to expose its true character, God held a meeting in heaven to examine the actions of all persons who claimed to follow God on earth. Its teeth of iron and its nails of bronze, which devoured, broke in pieces, and trampled the residue with its feet. I was watching, and the same horn was making war against the saints, and prevailing against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and a judgment was made in favor of the saints of the Most High, and the time came for the saints to possess the kingdom. Daniel 7:19-22. I watched till thrones were put in place, and the Ancient of Days was seated. His garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head was like pure wool. His throne was a fiery flame, its wheels a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. 1,000 thousands ministered to him, 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated, and the books were opened. I watched then because of the sound of the pompous words which the horn was speaking. I watched till the beast was slain, and its body destroyed and given to the burning flame. Daniel 7:9-11. This judgment in heaven, with 100 million angels watching, is happening right now. And it is not over yet. This is judgment time for all people on the earth. Those who, like the Roman Catholic Church, have dared to oppose God's law and his people will be condemned in this judgment. And God's faithful people will be declared righteous in the same judgment. Then, when the judgment finishes, two things will happen on earth. Daniel saw, in the prophecy just quoted, that the papacy will be destroyed. That is yet future and we will study it more at a later time. Also, God is going to take this earth away from arrogant colonial powers and even from other nations, and he is going to someday give it to the saints. And they will possess the kingdom. This fascinating prophecy is highly practical for those live today. It explains, for example, why Christian nations seem so disrespectful to the prophets. Why so? Because they are following the lead of the Roman Catholic Church, which perverted the teachings of the Bible and tried to overthrow the authority of God's law. The apostate church thought it had power to do that. He shall speak pompous words against the Most High, shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change times and law. Then the saints shall be given into his hand. Daniel 7:25. This chapter explains, in the same way, why apparently Christian churches that are Catholic, in Europe and Asia, or Coptic, in North Africa, or Orthodox, in the Middle East and Russia, use images of the saints in their worship. The Ten Commandment law of God forbids bowing down to images. It even forbids making images for adoration or worship. But this law was attacked by the power of the Roman Catholic Church very early in its apostasy. These ideas led to others. They explain why Western music and movies are so violent and sexually explicit. Do they represent the teachings of the prophets? No, not at all. For example, Jesus said that whoever looks at a woman to lust after her has committed adultery in his heart already. He also said that if someone slaps your face, you should let him slap you again rather than fighting back. Indeed, the little horn power that had influence widely around the world has, by its hatred for the teachings of the prophets, created an atmosphere that has led many to become atheists. Others have become secular. And because there is no respect for the law of God, and because people who claim to believe the Bible have not been changed in heart, there is no power to stop them from becoming corrupt. Satan has used these facts to create deception in many places. People watch the depraved nature of movies from supposedly Christian nations like the USA and conclude terrible things about even the faithful and devoted believers in such nations. But let us get back to the amazing prophecies of Daniel. There is much more to learn about the Day of Judgment. And we will get to that information in our next video. We will have more information on one of the prophecies of this great prophet.